Yes.
County leaders are responding to a heated exchange between the sheriff and county commissioners during a budget workshop. As we told you last night, the sheriff called out commissioners for certain comments made as they slashed some of his budget requests.
KCBD News Channel 11's investigative reporter Shaylee Kidwell sat down with some of those elected officials to talk about the contentious meeting.
Patrol deputies, mental health deputies.
Can we come check on you? Can you tell me about what this blood is on your face?
Canine handlers. Narcotics investigators. Those are just some of the positions the Lubbock County Sheriff's Office had hoped to add. But Lubbock County commissioners struggled to agree on just how many of those budget requests taxpayers should fund.
But I don't really have a good consensus from the court yet.
The sheriff's request for funds to hire 3 additional patrol deputies received mixed reviews.
We've got 3 deputy positions.
I can see it out in my precinct that we're still needing deputies.
I would cut those 3 out of there.
We sat down with Precinct 2 Commissioner Jason Corley to find out why he was opposed to putting more deputies on the streets.
If you put more officers on the streets, they are going to arrest more people. They are going to put more people into jail. We don't have space right now. We're having to spend $4.8 million this year. That number will likely increase to around $7 million next year. So we need to get the new jail built. More importantly, we need to increase staff in the DA's office.
Corley also opposed the hiring of mental health deputies this budget cycle.
That could be something we could look at a further date, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the dollars and cents and whether or not we can afford it, and is that something that the taxpayer wants to fund right now.
And the sheriff's request to expand the narcotics division?
I'm not in favor of it. I don't have a clear vision on what this is, narcotics is, what this is supposed to look like, or what we're trying to do. I mean, we've been fighting the war on drugs since the 70s. We can hire 1,000 deputies tomorrow, and that's not going to solve your fentanyl problem. At the end of the day, we have got to get through to our children about the dangers of this drug.
The sheriff had also hoped to expand his canine division, but that too didn't receive unanimous support.
There are things that we need to get under control on that department, and I don't know that I would add more to that right now.
It's a comment the sheriff called Corley out on in a meeting just days later.
I would really like to know what it is that you all need to get under control with the sheriff's office.
An offhand or a comment made by one commissioner does not equate the policy of the commissioner's court. And I would ask that you address that commissioner either privately, or I'm not telling you can't address that publicly.
Well, the question was, or the statement was posed publicly because you were in a public workshop at the time.
Sure was.
Which comment?
The particular comment about that certain things should not be funded because there are things that you, the court, you maybe individually, I don't know, needed to get under control within the sheriff's office.
That is a misquote on me. That was not stated about the commissioner's court getting under control. It's letting the sheriff's office have time to get it under control.
Get what under control?
You mentioned the comment about the dogs, right? About the canines. What is the policy on how are those housed? What is the proper cage for those animals?
Those kennels are all bought through appropriate purchasing policies. They're placed into each of the officers, or at each of the officers' residences. Again, it's all well established. There's nothing new there.
Okay. So when did we update it? I thought we had problems with this 2 years ago.
We had a problem with an individual, but that wasn't a policy issue. That was that individual's issue. And that individual no longer is employed by the sheriff's office as a result of his decision-making, which cost us the life of a canine.
Are you comfortable with the sheriff's policies and procedures? Do you think you ironed all of that out in the meeting, or do you still have questions?
I believe so. I think we're good.
We also met with Lubbock County Judge Curtis Parrish, who addressed the tense exchange.
Getting away from rumor, getting away from allegations that are unfounded is very important. And I think using that public forum is not the proper way to address those. I think the proper way to address those, if you do have a concern with a policy of the Sheriff's Department or the way certain deputies maybe out in the field are going above and beyond what they should be doing as deputies, you address the sheriff, but you don't do it in that public way.
Parrish says the sheriff did come back days later and give a presentation to justify his budget requests. Precinct 1 Commissioner Terrence Kovar says while there was heavy discussion surrounding specific positions, ultimately it's up to the sheriff's office to decide how to spend the funds commissioners approved.
So we were able to fund 5 positions, but meeting with the sheriff after our budget hearings, I said, please come up with your plan for those 5 positions. That's up to you, that's your department. I mean, y'all run with those 5 for the sheriff's office. And they did. They came back and it was quartermaster, 2 narcotics, and 2 canine. And their biggest reason for both the narcotics and the canine, overtime. They are burning their guys out because they don't have enough in the field.
Shaylee Kidwell, KCBD, investigates.
In addition to the new positions at the Sheriff's Office, the commissioners also approved funding for positions at the Lubbock County Detention Center. The plan is to hire 4 corporals and a teacher.